Welcome back. Today we are flying the 109 K-4. I'm running gun pods. You don't see me do that very often, but I haven't flown a 109 or anything with 151s, to be honest, in about a month. So I didn't trust my aim with 120mm, and I'm not going to run the 30mm for obvious reasons. It's quite sparky, you only have 60 rounds, and well, they're kind of hard to use. So I'll run a gun pods, hoping I can get some hits in like that. Get a head on the P51H. The P51H is one of your most dangerous opponents in this thing. He outclimbs you, he outturns you, he outruns you, and his guns are a lot easier to use, and he can hold you down with 1800 rounds. So you have to be careful of those guys, especially if they get above you. And even on your 6 in general, you just don't want to be near them. You want to make sure that you double team them. You want to hope that he's not very good at the game. And you will struggle with P51Hs. The Griffins are also very strong, especially at altitude. The K-4 isn't tuned for high altitude fights. So unlike the G10, where above 10 or the 6 kilometers, it starts actually outperforming the K4 as far as I'm concerned. If I'm wrong on that, feel free to let me know. But I'm quite confident that the G10 at altitude is a little bit better than the K4, but the K4 of course is very strong at lower altitudes. It's a bit like the G6 in that regard. And here we have two Griffins, or at least two Spitfires. I'm gonna guess one of them at least is a Griffin. And that thing is very scary, especially at 6 kilometers. Because the Griffin it's fast as hell. And the Griffins are extremely strong at high altitude. I flew it last week a bit as well. I didn't have much luck because I kept, screwing up. I was kind of malding, as we call it. As well as the end of this video. This week has been a lot of malding, so I took a small week of a break. Because I didn't want to burn myself out of the game. Luckily, I managed to get this game right before I ended that. Or before I started the break, so to speak. I'm gonna be looking for the guy up top. He levels out, so I think I'm gonna go for the guy over there. But he gets sniped by the K4 next to me. So here we go. Aim in the deflection. He rolls a bit, and I just can't get my guns on. But it's a Griffin. I probably shouldn't have sprayed there, considering, well, my team is right there. There's two teammates right next to me. But I didn't want the Griffin to dive out and waste all of our altitude. Or at least two of them. I wasn't gonna stick, especially when there's two teammates around you like that. And now you can see there's an LF9, which isn't too much of a problem. You know it's an LF because of the American symbol. And a P51. It's a P51H because it's a 6.3 game. And the other P51s are all 5.0 or lower. So they won't be in the game. And that's the guy I set, well, not on fire. I gave a fuel leak at the start of the game. So what do? I'm actually going to climb away from him for a little bit. Because if I go for him right now, I'm going to get double teamed by the Spitfire. As well as the F8F on my left. And the P51H on its own is already dangerous enough. And he's boom and zooming, so he actually kept his speed. So I don't really have a leg up on him. If anything, if I go in there right now, I might save my teammate in the short run. But I will throw the game in the long run. Which is kind of an ironic thing to say, but you will see about that later in the video. If that F4U hadn't killed that pillbox right there, we might have actually won it. But again, I'm just gonna climb. Just climb slowly. I don't want to keep some speed. I don't want to go too steep. I want to kind of run away from my enemies right here. Because there's three of them. One of them is above me. One is going to absolutely club me. And the other one is an F8F. Which at this point, because I haven't flown the F8F in forever, I thought the F8F is very poor at high altitude. I know that the energy retention of that plane is very bad. So I wanted to take it into a dogfight. But of course I have to take into account that I'm running 30 minutes of fuel and he is most likely either min or 20, and both of them are substantially lighter than me, and at high altitudes I'm not using as much fuel. Well, I don't think that's actually the case in this thing, but he is not using as much fuel, so maybe if I drag it on a little bit I might become lighter than him, but I have my doubts. The Spitfire, as well as the F8F, as well as the P51 are going for my teammate, so what I do now is separate. And I don't do this because I want him to die. What I want him to do is dive out. Maybe take 2 or 3 with him. Maybe even 1. It doesn't matter. Drag some of them low to the deck. And if he does that, then I can fight him. Because right now we are not in a very balanced situation. All of those planes have a leg up on me. On their own, of course. I can outperform an LF9. I can outperform an F8F to some degree. But I can't outperform the P51. And they have the number advantage, but they all have their strengths and their weaknesses, but their strengths in a combination of 3 makes it so that I basically can't fight them. The LF outturns me, the P51 outturns me, and the F8F outturns me, which makes it very hard to 3v1 in a furball, especially when you fly a plane like the K4. But they are all going off with my teammate and he's diving out, which is perfect. So at this point I'm like, have it in the bag. I get a nice dogfight for a video with the FADEF. But I underestimated the plane a little bit. As I said, I haven't flown it since, well, at least 1.5 years ago. Well, I flew it 2 games after this game because I was kind of surprised by it. I thought it overheated very badly, and it does, but it's not as bad as it used to be. And I thought it was bad at altitude. And it's not very good, but it's not as bad as it used to be. And as I said at the start, I was not considering that he has a lot less fuel than me. Because the last time I dueled one, I had min fuel and he had min fuel as well. And right now I have almost double my fuel load. So what do I do here? I think he has a very poor engine above 5 kilometers, which in a way he does. But he's very light. And I thought that he wasn't going to be able to pull up for me. So I didn't go up properly. If I had gone straight up there, I would have looped back over. And I would have caught him right in that stall. Instead, I did a bit of a horizontal turn, and that screwed up the approach. If I had gone straight up, as I just said, I would have probably killed him, but I thought he had so little engine power that I could take the more safe approach and do a bit of a horizontal turn. Unfortunately, he kept turning inside of me, and I kind of screwed this engagement. Well, I screwed it up completely. I fought it properly, based on my knowledge, but my knowledge was wrong, and thus my fight was a bit botched. And here you can see my flaps starting to rip off. We're getting lower and lower, and the lower we go, the bigger of a leg up the FADEF gets. And you can tell right now we dropped about a kilometer, and he starts pulling inside of me. And if I do that loop once more, and you can tell, there we go, he's going up. He's still turning, he does a horizontal, and at that point I'm like, no, I'm out of here. I'm not gonna do all that, because you can see how close he is on my 6. And I don't want to get anywhere near those FADEF guns. So I'm gonna extend away, I'm gonna try to get some altitude again. But it seems that the FADEF is actually going to run me down. It's a bit of a problem. The FADEF has very bad retention, so if I try to reverse him and he throttle drops, I'm gonna be sitting duck right in those A&M trees, and that's a place I don't want to be. He's outrunning me for a little bit, but I was above him, so I could dive a little and get some more separation. I'm hoping he gets his engine overheated, basically what I'm doing here, because I can't really fight him. He starts catching me in the long run again though. I'm going in a very slight climb. I get returned to battlefield, and at this point I'm like, if I start turning now, I'm dead. Like, I don't have enough separation. I didn't mean to run to the map border. He breaks off because of the map border, which is perfect for me. I go in a little bit of a climb, get some altitude out of it, and what I do now is I'm gonna try to re-engage him or climb away, depends on what he's going to do. There he comes. I'm outrunning him for a little bit, but then I realized that he's quite a bit faster than I imagined. I definitely underestimated the FADEF, and I have been flying it for a little bit after this gameplay. It was yesterday actually. My break is already over. And it's not as bad as I thought it was. Of course the rudder is absolutely horrendous and it still overheats quite a bit. But I was flying against Japanese and it's actually quite doable now. It's still not the best and it's still not what it used to be. But you will definitely see an FADEF video coming up in the near future. And right now, I'm not sure why he's diving out. He had a 1v1 versus me. He probably got, well, he didn't like what was happening because he didn't really get to kill me. I was just running away from him. A bit scummy. But I'm in K-4 and I can't really dogfight an FADEF. And there goes my teammate in the 190C. And right here, who do I go for? The FADEF breaks off. Probably trying to get me to go for them, because there's 2 over there. Get a crit on the LF9. Watch the FADEF, because I expect him to come back. And he does. There we go. Hit right in the engine. And I go for the P51. LF9 goes into the ground. Yeah, shot his wing off. P51, the biggest threat right now. I'm just running him down at this point. Nothing too fancy. And he is distracted by the Junker 288. I'm getting closer and closer. And the closer I get, the better my chances become. Because of course I am using 20 mils with the gun ports. So I can actually host people at long range. I wouldn't have hit that if it wasn't for the gun ports. Or at least I wouldn't even have shot at that point. So there you go. And again, my voice is a bit rough. I've been working a lot the last few days. Talking a lot. So I'm not as loud as I like to be. Maybe a bit rough, maybe a bit hoarse, I don't know. Is that a word, hoarse? Probably is. It sounds like a word. And I don't mean a horse you ride on. obviously. And now I'm just gonna run this FDF down, and you can tell that he's smoking a little bit. And I suspect it's from me hitting him. It might also be the AA right next to me here on the right. But I'm not too sure. And I'm just going to be running him down. I'm going to speed this up because it's very boring stuff. I'm climbing a little bit, but I want to make sure that he dies, because at this point I'm not too sure if his engine is dead or not. Quick check of the stat card for the enemy team, because I see someone with 2 kills and I want to know if he spaded or not. Didn't see many kills, so I'm guessing he's not. But of course he might always GE it. At least he's not very experienced in the plane, which is a good thing. And right here, this is exactly why I run tracers. IAI belts. I can just host people, make him maneuver a little bit. And there we go. And then I shoot a little burst of the 20s and he's out of the air. FAF, F for you. On the deck you don't want to mess with these guys, and I don't have flaps, which doesn't make it any better. FAF some reason turns around, which makes, well, thank you very much for that. There's the 84, I'm expecting him to come in as well. I kind of wish he did, but alas. Dodge his shell, almost flying to a tree. Dodge with the F4U. And get a dogfight. Yeah, I just turned inside of him. And I only turned inside of him because he was substantially faster than me. And I'm on very low fuel right now. And he just took off, I think. I think he came back into the fight after taking off. So I have quite a little bit less fuel than these people. And I want to make sure to abuse that. Right now I see the FDF come in. I want to get some altitude so I can actually work with him. And then I'm going to dive a little bit to get all of that speed back. Because of course you produce the most amount of energy when you're at your optimal climb speed. Which is, the closer you are to 290 the better. So if I climb up a little bit like that, then I will be getting some more energy. And there comes the FU as well. FDF coming in. FDF is, as you can tell, he's very slow. I'm not too sure what he's been doing. He was running me down. He was going about 400, but he did a horizontal turn, which makes it basically impossible for him to fly back up, because the FDF dumps all of its speed very, very quickly. It's a little bit like the Wyvern in that regard. You do a turn, you lose a lot of your speed. And at this point, I think, okay, another dogfight, FU 4B, and then the 84. The 84, nowhere to be found. Not sure where he is. I'm hoping he's going near me. But at this point I see a lot of tickets and I'm not too worried about him. I do see my fuel though. I only have 6 minutes of fuel. Didn't actually see the guy in chat that told me to go to him. And right now I'm gonna be trying to run the F4U down without using my web, because I only have 6 minutes of fuel, which is roughly 3 minutes with web. And I'm gonna be trying running him down. I'm hoping the last day might be able to get a shot on him. Maybe crit him, maybe do something to him where I can run him down, because the F4U is a lot faster than this plane, especially on the deck. There he comes. At least I thought there he comes. He's coming head on. I go under him, makes it a little bit harder for him to shoot. I go up, I loop over. He follows me up and I'm like, yes, here we go, dogfight. Be careful doing this to FU 4Bs, because that engine power at low speeds is absolutely insane. And here I was hoping for him to go back up, but he dove out. Otherwise I would have set up for a very nice kill and I would have run down at 84. That maneuver is what won the game, unfortunately speaking. I'm gonna be webbing for a little bit, trying to retract my flap, because as we all know the flaps are very, very slow. I'm just spraying my 13 mils at him, get a couple of hits in, hoping he will turn. Everything I damage on him will reduce his top speed. So if I just spray at him with my 13s, get some hits in here and there. The 13 mils, the IEIs are especially good for setting fires, and the FU is kind of prone to fires. So I'm really hoping I can hit his fuselage and just set him ablaze. He's not dodging at all. I don't have enough ammo to hose him down from this range. Well, I kind of do, but at this point I thought I'm catching him anyway, so I don't really have to. I just keep peppering him. And he just keeps running, and at this point I'm not too sure what he's trying to do. I'm catching him, he's not gonna make the base, as you can see it's quite far away. He's in a better plane in a dogfight, and whatever, he's still gonna try to run. And now I start shooting my cannons, because I'm out of MGs. And I know that at around 800 meters, below 900 meters, if he's flying in a straight line like that, well, let's just say I'm gonna hit you. And that's it. That's all the fighters down, that's 7 kills, and now it's just the 84 left. I'm not too sure where he is. but the tickets are kind of low. But I see the tickets, I see we have 550 points, which is about 6 ticks, which is, well, quite a bit of time, I imagine. It's at least a couple of minutes. And the 84 is going to the other side of the map. He flew all the way away from me after he saw me in a dogfight, which also I don't understand. The decision making of the enemy team was a bit odd this game. You had the FADF that ran for me in a 1v1. You had the F4U that ran for me and just didn't bother moving at all. And then you have the 84 that ran for me in the 1v1. That should have been a 1v2 because the FADF ran away as well. And at this point I'm noticing my fuel is awfully low. So I'm gonna be gliding. I see my tickets and I'm contemplating if I should go back to base. I'm not gonna go back to base because then I am quite sure that I'm not gonna make it in time. Because, well, the tickets on this map go rather fast. Like, I know they are fast, but I didn't expect them to go down fast as fast as they did this game. So I knew for certain that if I were to go back to base, that I wouldn't make it. So what I do instead is use my last bit of fuel to glide back to his base and intercept him when he takes off. I'm going to speed this up as well because this is going to take quite a little bit because I'm gliding about 20 kilometers here. It's just gliding, no fuel basically. I'm just zero throttling to get as far as I can. I think I have enough tickets, so I'm not really in a hurry. He's landing as he does. Turn the engine back off. 1.5 minutes of fuel, which is plenty if he was to take off again. And you can just tell how quickly these tickets go down. Like, why is this a thing? And all the time this happens. And normally I don't showcase these matches because most of my high kill matches are just, well, killing people that aren't paying attention or not very interesting gameplay in general. Or I lose on tickets. And I say I got no fuel and I hope he will take off. And he actually took the bait. If I had said that a bit earlier, he might actually have taken off. But no, we're gliding in, hoping I get to win here. And at this point I have one people, Logan, Get Low, the guy got team killed a few videos ago by me by a missile. And he was mad for me. Because I'm gliding in, I'm gonna gun it right now, I don't want to go right over that base. I'm getting close, 4 kilometers, I can taste the victory. 1.5 minute of fuel left, which is plenty, fills an 84 and the tickets run out. And yeah, you can say that I was pretty mad after this one, but alas. The gameplay itself was pretty educational, even for me. I learned quite a bit of things about the K-4 as well as the FADF. I enjoyed the game, as though the ending was a bit sour. I hope you enjoyed this gameplay as well. I will be covering something else relatively soon. FADF, Spitfire, I don't know yet, you'll see. Feel free to suggest something in the comments, and I will see you very soon.